Greetings in the name of Yahuwah and his son Yahusha Mashiach. My name is Malak Shalomo. Today is the 29th of January 2024, and I'm going to do a little breakdown, top-down analysis on the ES. I'm going to start on the weekly chart. So let's see here. All right, so I'm just going to point out some Wyckoff theory levels that I've placed on this weekly chart. So let's see here. So this right here is the preliminary supply on the weekly chart. This is the buying climax level. This is the automatic reaction on the weekly. Then we got the secondary test on the weekly. And then we came down here and we created the minor sign of weakness on the weekly chart. And then we got another sign of weakness right here, right? So after that, we're looking for like a up thrust move, right? So all of these little lines right here, this is for daily chart Wyckoff levels, right? So so right now we're looking for like a up thrust level for us to just push higher, right? So I have this marked here at 5,300 as a potential up thrust on the weekly, right? So let's see here. Now, let's see, let me just, right. So now let's use some indicators to kind of get a feel for where things could possibly go, right? So let me just use the volume point of control. I'll start off with that. Right, so this volume point of control here, right? I'm gonna go down to the daily chart actually. Right, so using the volume point of control, I'm going to start from here, which is the 27th of October 2023, right? So that's where we had that kind of V reversal, and we're moving up off of that. So I'm gonna anchor the volume point of control at that level, roughly, probably like one bar behind right here on the 26th, and we're gonna use that as a gauge, right? So this is the volume point of control. These purple lines here are low volume nodes, low volume areas, and the pink lines are high volume areas, right? So let me just try something out here, right? So in between these high volume nodes, right, I'm going to measure from one high volume node to where we come up to the top of this consolidation right here, right? So that's roughly 309 points, right? Now, the reason I'm measuring that is because it's a high volume node to another high volume node, right? So we could use that kind of like as a measure of what price does. Now, from volume node to volume node, from high volume node to high volume node, we could kind of measure how price moves before it consolidates, and then what kind of move happens after that, right? So right, so this one here was 309, starting from the bottom here to the top of this consolidation. Let's say 278, right? Because this candle here was a breakout candle. So the top of the consolidation here is roughly 282 points, right? So now from the bottom of this candle right here up to the top of this consolidation is roughly 250 points, right? So that's basically it's stopping here and auctioning around this high volume node, and that's creating this high volume node here with the auction going sideways, right? So we have a sideways auction here. That's 250 points from high volume node to high volume node, right? So we're just trying to get an average of how the price moves between these high volume nodes. Now, from this level here to the top of this auction is 246 points, right? So up to this volume pointer control here is 246 points. So I'm gonna look now at the auction, the length of the auction, right? So let me just check this out here. So let's say roughly this auction length was about 15 bars, right? So 15 days, right? And then this auction here was roughly 22 days, right? So with that here, we could say, well, this auction at the volume pointer control is probably going to be more than 250 points, because they accumulated enough energy around the volume pointer control to probably move more than 250 points, right? So with that said, if we're moving from this breakout candle right here, moving up to, so when we get up to the buying climax on the weekly, which is 5,028.25, right? We get up to 258 points, 258.75 points, right? So it's probably going to move a little more than that, considering that we had this long auction right here, right, of 27 bars, 28, 27 bars, 25, roughly. What, let's see, counting from, yeah, I think I'm at the right spot. So roughly 25 bars, right? So if we get this long auction compared to this one here, right? So let me just start over here, right? You got this sideways movement here of 16 bars. And then the result of that was a move upwards to the top here of 245 points, right? So if we get an auction which lasts 22 bars, we could expect probably more than 250 points, right? So from the bottom here, getting up here, that's 259, 60, 61 points. So all of this is just averages, right? So when we get up to this buying climax area, we're probably gonna get a little sideways movement, right? We might not just break out of this this buying climax area just shooting through it, right? We might get some resistance here, because this is where we had this prior kind of you see how this is auctioning here before it breaks down. We're probably gonna get a little auction here before we break above, right? If we break above, right? So expect to have some resistance here at this buying climax area of 5,028.25. Well, I'm expecting it. You know, you don't have to expect it. You don't have to take anything I'm saying into consideration. And just as a disclaimer, I'm not qualified to give any financial advice. All of this is just for entertainment, right? So when we come up here, we're going to get up to like 250, but I'm expecting it to move probably higher than that. We're probably going to get maybe to 288, 290, somewhere around there. That's 5,056 and 75. So looking for some resistance here at the buying climax area, and probably a potential push above. Right now I have this labeled up here at 5,300 as a potential uptrust, right? Because I'm looking at this as this whole thing here. I'm looking at this whole structure here as a potential distribution structure, right? So and what are we distributing, right? So we're actually distributing all of this run up here, right? So all of this is profit. Taking profit is causing all of this selling, right? I'm gonna push it back up, reaccumulate it here, push it back up to this level, probably distribute some more. So all of this here, what we're seeing is potentially selling into strength, right? And just offloading the profits from that COVID-19 run up, right? So hypothetically speaking, anyway, so potentially we could get an uptrust here because in a distribution Wyckoff theory and a distribution structure, we're supposed to get a uptrust in after having, let's see here, from this minor sign of weakness and sign of weakness from down here, we're supposed to get that uptrust, and it's looking like we're on our way to do that, right? So looking at the volume pointer control, just doing some measurements there between these high volume nodes to kind of gauge what kind of range we're looking at, right? So resistance at buying climax weekly, looking out for that at 5,028.50. All right, so let's throw on something else here. Let's throw on the Camarilla setup for the month, right? So today we stopped at monthly Camarilla R4, right? So that's that yellow line right there. And we paused at that level. And if I put on the floor pivots, which is the monthly floor pivots, we stopped, we broke above, we started at floor pivot R1, 4902, got the push up from there. Let me just make sure I make that bigger, everybody could see that. Right, so we got the push off from monthly R1, 4902, had the big run up today, and we didn't get to R2, but we could potentially get to R2 tomorrow, right? So 4962.50, that's a potential target, or 4970. I'm gonna show you in a minute why I set that alert right there at 4970. Right, so that's the Camarillas, kind of, those are the resistance levels and the floor pivot levels, right? So we're actually gonna get new Camarillas and new pivot floor pivots on Thursday, right, which is the 1st of February. So around this on this day, we're gonna get some new levels, probably gonna get some higher value relationships on the Camarillas and stuff like that. So we'll probably move up. This Camarilla R4 will move way up, and we'll probably get Camarilla S3 pulling up to somewhere around this level right here. It's probably going to move above this Camarilla R3 level at 48.86.48. So let's see here. All right, let me take off these and let me take a look at some VWAP levels. Let me just find the right one. All right, so let me go back to the weekly chart. Right, so these VWAP bands are from the preliminary stop or the preliminary supply level right here, right, on the 30th of August 2021. Right, so that's when we had that preliminary supply, the first stop in the up move, had that pullback, came back up here and created the buying climax, right? So I started the VWAP bands from that date. So coming across the current price action here, you can see that. All right, let me just point out what these are. So this is VWAP. This is the first upper deviation, and this is the second upper deviation, right? So the reason I set an alert here is because this upper VWAP band is curling to the upside, and it's right at 49.70. So now price is gonna run into this this deviation band. Is either gonna create some resistance, or we're gonna have to break out of that as well, right? So that's why I wanted to see what price does around this level at 49.70. So That's why I set that right there. Now I have another VWAP band that I started from, no, not that one. I started this one from, wait, no, not this one. Hold on. Right, that's it right there. And this one is from the buying climax, right? So go down to the daily, right? So that's from the buying climax area, right? And I added an extra deviation band. So from VWAP, first deviation, second deviation, third deviation up, right? So let's see here. Come into current price action again. And you can see that we broke out of this second upper deviation band, which is a very bullish move. This is a trend move, in my opinion. When you break above that second upper deviation band and you hold above it, that's when you're really trending, right? Really trending to the upside. The first sign of the trend is breaking above this first upper deviation band right here, right? So that happened right there on the breakout above this little auction right here, and we broke above this. Now we never came back and tested this upper deviation right here, the first one, and this one is VWAP right here, right? So we had the breakout of VWAP, the breakout of the first upper deviation. We ran into resistance here, which created let me just point these out. Since we're on the daily chart, let me just point this level out here, since it's actually showing where it created that auction. So we have let's see here. That's actually on the 1 hour chart. I have some buying climaxes right there, and uptrust level and a preliminary supply. So all of this was from actually the 1 hour chart, right? So let's see, where's my daily levels, right? So the buying climax on the daily was down here, so we broke above that, right? So you can see here where the secondary test on the weekly kind of lines up here with this second upper deviation band on the VWAP band, and that's where we got this bullish move straight through it. And when was that? That was the 19th of January 2024, right? So that's the first time we really pushed above that second upper deviation band, and that's creating this real bullish moves right now. So right now we're in a real uptrend, so to speak. You know, there's a lot of strength. Well, I don't know. That's a matter of opinion. I don't really consider it real strength. I gotta see some more, because I think like these candles are showing some signs of selling right here, right? And this bar right here, I don't think it really had enough volume for the range that it did, right? Compared to like this bar right here, they're kind of similar, right? Let me just take these off. So this bar here and this bar here is similar, right? That's the volume on this bar, and that's the volume right there on this current bar. So I think it has kind of anomaly to it. So still looking at this, because it's tricky at this all-time high levels, right? I think a lot of buyers who have bought like way below here, they're gonna start exiting some of their positions. Now, some people are gonna be kind of FOMOing and jumping in, but they mightn't jump in with full size to create like real volume. You know what I'm saying? They might like be testing the waters right now, because they too would be looking at these levels right here, and probably even if they do jump in, like these guys here, right? Their target might just be right here, right? At this buying climax level, or even the 5,000 level, right? So we still gotta wait and see probably kind of create some auctioning, you know, like probably some auctioning around this level here before we really start taking it to the upside. But if buyers get really confident and they start throwing in, you know, like big lots, then maybe we get like a full breakout, you know, but I'm expecting some resistance here. And then we got to contend with this one here at 5139.69. That's the third upper deviation band, and that's sure to create some resistance. So we're gonna see what's up with that in February, I guess. You know. Let's see here. All right, so coming down to the weekly chart, I also have some VWAP bands from the first of the month, the beginning of the year. So let's see, we actually went really bullish here from this breakout of the first upper deviation band. Let's see, we had this little auction right here. Let me just open this up a little bit. So we had this nice auction, and you kind of see like before we get like big moves, we do get like a little auction, and right, because I guess buyers have to see or have to test and make sure, like coming down like this right here, when they break out, come down, retest, make sure the sellers don't have any more interest in selling, right? So when we get these auctions here, they could start accumulating their position, and they could see if we get any more selling, and they could also see, let me see here, let me take this off. They can also make these little tests right here, right? So when they break out, they can pull back, test to see what kind of selling interest. And with these buying wicks right here, you can see that the selling interest isn't strong because they can absorb any selling, right? And that's how they have the confidence to make these big buys and push price up. And then we have a nice sideways consolidation, and that's because we hit this third upper deviation band again. So that's why I'm kind of adding this third upper deviation band, because it shows, well, this is even stronger than as resistance. It's even stronger than the second upper deviation, you know. Price has to be really strong for it to push through that level. So we come up here, we test, we go sideways, and we go sideways for a period of time until we get back to this second upper deviation where we get buyers again, because buyers are seeing, well, they tested below, no selling. You see the wicks down there, right? Little wicks below that second upper deviation. Buyers see, well, there's no real selling interest, so they start pushing price up again, moving sideways, kind of sideways sloping to the upside. And we never really got up to this third upper deviation, started getting the selling right there. I guess that's when buyers are starting to lose a little confidence, right? So they start taking profits. Again, they're below the second upper deviation, no major selling, and they start to take price up again. And this is basically happening until now. We got this breakout here today, right? So we basically tested, let's see here. All of this level here is basically 48.8750, right? So that's basically roughly around the low. So they're testing to see if major selling is going to come in, right? And they slowly start to add to their position and push price up because there is no major selling. But we are getting people taking profit when we move above this second upper deviation band, right? So they stepped on the gas, put some volume in, right? Heavier volume than anything we've seen here. This one is probably the closest one. And if you look at it, that's a buying wick, right? So everything here is looking bullish, right? So let's see. So now we have to really try and get to this third upper deviation band again, right? Because this was the only time we tested it right here, around the 22nd. Well, the first test was actually this was the first test around the 19th. Tested it again on the 21st. Came back here, tested it again on the 22nd. Didn't get up to it here on the 24th. And then we've been just moving around the second upper deviation band. So if we're really bullish, a little sideways movement in the ETH, and let's see if we could push up to get somewhere close to, I guess we're gonna hit 5,000. 5,000 is right here, just underneath this third upper deviation band. And the band is at 5,004.80, 5,403, right? So that's it right there. And I'm looking out for 4970. So that's one of the VWAP bands on the daily chart, right? So looking out for resistance at these levels. So let's see here. Let's draw on some of the weekly Camarillas. So on the weekly Camarilla, we just broke out of Camarilla R3. Well, simultaneously broke out of Camarilla R3 and R4, right? So that's the red line right there, horizontal line, broke out of that, broke above weekly Cam R4 as well. So now we're in the ETH, just hovering above it. And let's see the pivots. So the weekly pivots, we opened within the range, and the range is in a higher value relationship from the prior central pivot range. Where is it? So this is the prior central pivot range right here. This is the top central. Let me just use the arrows. Top central, blue line is the central. That dark green line right there is the bottom central. So we're in a higher value relationship, and the range is much narrower, so it's indicative of like having a breakout, which we actually did, right? So when we open within or above like the central pivot range, when it's in a higher value relationship, we're usually gonna get a move to R1, right? So where is R1? Because we did hit R1, right? So it's just below Camarilla R4, and we hit R1 today. And with this bullishness now, we're probably gonna get to like R2, right? So that's another target for tomorrow. If we just move sideways around here at 49.54, we could possibly get up to 49.65 and beyond, right? So this is going to be weekly Camarilla R5, right? So that's lining up with 49.70, and that's where I was looking for. Let's see, that's one of my VWAPs. I think is this one. No. Right, so that's that VWAP band right there. Right, so it's kind of lining up with that right there. So I put an alert for it right there. This is on the daily chart, and that's 49.70. And that's lining up here with the weekly Camarilla R5. So that's a potential target if a long setup presents itself tomorrow. So let's see here. Got some money zone levels, market profile. I actually found this new market profile indicator from TradingView. TradingView kind of made their own. So let's see, that's saying that wait, hold on, this is last week. So value area high is supposed to be this week at 49.1225, So we already broke, we opened above that, right? We opened above, no, we actually opened just below that value area high, and we broke above it, right? So let me just mute that. So value area high, value area high is at 49.1225, and we opened the week at 4908.75, and we just pushed through, right? So there's that value area high for this week, and this is the one that's billing out for next week, right? So this one was in the prior week. It's showing what's the value area for this week. So that's the value area high right there. Right, so we broke out of the value area high, so we're seeking new value. And let's see what else. Let's see this money zone indicator. This one has value area high at 49.10. So it's a little different, just a little different below the other the new one that I got from TradingView. So that one is 49.1225. This purple line right here is 49.1075. So roughly the same area. But I'm gonna start using this this new TPO indicator. And let me just show you that right here real quick. So if you want to find this, it's going to be time price opportunities, and you could just type that in the search, and it's a new one from TradingView. You see it has no creator, or no one is what do they call that? Like no developer outside of TradingView has created this, right? So this is from TradingView, and you see there's no creator right there. It's in a beta version, so I guess they're gonna be updating it a little more. So this is the beta version of it, but it's okay right now. It's kind of cool, you know. So time price opportunities, so type in the search and you'll find that. All right, so let's go down now to the 5-minute chart, and let me just take off everything from the chart. All right, so let's see here. Let's start with the market profile, right? So where is it? Not popping up. Anyway, I have it marked out already right here. So this is going to be the value area high at 49.2675 for tomorrow's trading. This is going to be the pocket area at 49.1625, and this is going to be the value area low at 49.0675. So we're definitely opening above that level right there, above those levels. We're way above value area high, definitely seeking new value. So let's take a look at the Camarilla levels. Right, so the Camarilla levels are in a higher value relationship. Prior Camarilla R3 was down here. Now it's up at 49.6940, and that's another level for us to look at. That 49.70 level, which is where I showed you the VWAP on the daily chart. On the weekly chart, it's Camarilla R5. And now on the daily, the 5-minute chart for tomorrow, it's going to be Camarilla R3, right? So resistance level right there, or looking for a breakout of that. This is going to be Camarilla R4 at 49.84.30. right? So it's a higher value relationship. I'm gonna be looking for any pullbacks to Camarilla S3, reversal patterns, that's a buy. Not really looking for it to come down to Camarilla S4, but you can see Camarilla S4 at 4924.66 is lining up with the market profile value area high. So if it wants to come back and test the value area high before we get some new buyers, because this right here could have some weak auction in it, right? Like it can have like low volume nodes in the volume profile. So let's just take a look at that real quick. All right, so if you look at the volume profile for, no, don't want that. Right, so we have some low volume areas in here. Basically, all of this here is a low volume area. These are the two high volume areas, right here and right here. Right, so before we got that little, I guess like people distributed here a little bit. So where we got those sellers, push price back down, they push price back up. So they will maybe distribute them before the end of the session. So that created actually created the volume point of control right up here. So that's interesting because after all of this movement down here, we actually got the volume point of control to be up here just in this little transactions, right, or little auction right here compared to all of this. The volume point of control is still here. So maybe somebody really dumped some shares up here, and like buyers actually they caught it, right? Because they're trying to FOMO and trying to collect, and these guys who bought down here, they're just distributed before the session end. So that's interesting that the whole histogram here is not as big, right? Like how it folded out during the day with the auction, but we still got the volume point of control, that dash white line to be up here at the end of the session. So that's interesting right there. So I'm thinking there's probably some stop losses below this area here that if market makers want to come down and feast a little bit, they could probably come down to these levels. That's going to be Camarilla S3 is going to be lining up with that. And if they really want to bring it right down to yesterday's auction, market profile, value area high, and Camarilla S4. So all of these are areas that have potential buyers waiting to take another run up. So let's see the central pivots. Let me take off the Camarillas for a second. Right, so this is the central pivot right here at 49.3750. Bottom central is 49.29 and top central is 49.46. So let's see here. Yesterday, where is it? Yesterday's central pivot range was really narrow. Yeah, this is where it is here. All of it was basically in the same little range right here around 49.16, right? So the range today is a lot, or in the comment section is a lot wider, right? So the range here is going to be 16.75 points. And you can see the range is actually within this low volume node here of the volume profile histogram. So one thing about the central pivot range is that it attracts price, right? So this 49.3750 could be a potential if we get some selling in the ETH to come down here to probably retest this central pivot range. Now we open above it, which is very bullish. If we stay above it, then we're gonna get some push to the upside. But if we want to come back and auction and clean up this auction here, this is going to be in the central pivot range. And first target is R1 is at 49.6950. So just throwing back on the Camarilla, you can see that's a double pivot zone right there. Even at Camarilla R4, R2 is at 49, floor pivot R2 is at 49.83.25. So double pivot zone here and double pivot zone here for Camarilla R3, R4, floor pivot R1, R2 is basically in the same place. So those are potential targets as well. Look for some auction in there. If the trend is strong to the upside, then maybe a little pullback there. So I gotta, like, right now I'm not reading the market too good like when I'm trading since probably like December. So like when I was journaling today, I kind of realized I'm probably trading out of fear a little bit. So I'm not really trusting myself and I'm making mistakes and stuff like that. So if I'm in a long trade that comes up here and it starts to pull back a little bit, like if it comes up and starts to pull back a little bit, I gotta be mindful not to get too worried or scared out of the trade, right? So if it's in an uptrend and the buying is strong and we do get a pullback from this area, I still gotta, control the nerves and the anxiousness and not jump out of the trade too early and just let the trade play out. I guess with the rules that I have as well, but I have some of these VWAP rules that I'm trying to add to my trading of when I'm gonna take profits and when I'm gonna enter the trade. So it depends on how price is moving, but I am mindful that I'm trading a little scary, you know what I'm saying? I gotta be a little more confident. Like I used to be a little more confident, but I had some mishaps in December, so that's kind of throwing me off a little bit. And I still haven't regained the confidence from any real wins like this month. This month has been kind of up and down and a little choppy for me, so I gotta be mindful of that. And right, so that's the Camarillas, that's the floor pivot, and now we could throw on. Let's see this money zone, see where that's at. Right, so this value area high on this other indicator for the market profile, the money zone, is at 49.25, so roughly at the same area as the new one from TradingView, this TPO time up, what is it called again? Time price opportunities, TPO. All right, let me take it off. Right, so that's finally came in right there. So let me just show you that it shows you, right, that's the value area high. You can see VAH right there. That's the POC. I have that marked out, and that's the value area low right there. I have an alert on that level that I put there, so it's kind of blocking the value area low. But if you look there, it's kind of small as well, so that's POC, that's value area high, VAH. So I actually created some horizontal levels right there because these lines, they don't really come across too prominent on the chart, so I kind of created my own. Because I like my charts kind of messy, I guess. You know what I mean? So I heard I'm reading a lot of books on trading and trading psychology, and they talk about, these expert traders or like real professional traders at a certain point, they just take off all the indicators and it's just basically the candles, right? Like I think his name is Tom Hugard, who wrote Best Loser Wins. He doesn't have any indicators on his charts and stuff like that, but I'm definitely not there yet. So I still use my indicators, you know what I'm saying? Maybe one day in the future, I'll have nothing on my chart and just trade off my mind power, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's it, man. That's the setups for tomorrow. So looking for pullbacks here between this this kind of, let's see, let's put this back on. This kind of weak auction here, you know, big breakout, not much auctioning in between here, low volume area, lining up with the central pivot range right here. Also has Camarilla S3 right there. Where is it? Yep, right there with the central pivot range. So that's also called, let me just point that out right there. So when we have the central pivot kind of lining up with another, hold on. Right. So when the central pivot is lining up with like a Camarilla level or a floor pivot level or maybe a market profile level, they call that a golden pivot zone. So that usually attracts price, right? Because there's two levels in conjunction that would probably, there would probably be buyers at this level right here, right? So any pullbacks to this level, I'm looking for buys at this level. If we want to search for more liquidity, if we come down to this level here, Camarilla S4, and the market profile value area highs levels of 49.25, 49.26.75, buys off of that level. That's if we want to come back and catch some more liquidity to take us higher. And if we're opening above like or near to Camarilla R3, R1, looking for a breakout of this level at 49.70. So if I could get a breakout, a little retest to go longer, possibly to floor pivot R3, 4996. Who knows, we could probably get to 5,000 tomorrow if the bulls really come out to play again, you know. And that's lining up with Camarilla R5, right? So let's see how it goes tomorrow. Let's see, how long was this video? 47 minutes. Well, top-down analysis from the weekly to the daily to the hourly chart and then to the 5-minute chart for the setups. And that's my setups for tomorrow. All right, y'all. So I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. Y'all trade safe and stay blessed.